What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Chrissy Chaos. How's everyone doing? Hope you're making sweet love. Today, we have, as you requested, you guys said to me, I said, what kind of guest do you want to have? You said, we want a Pac-10 Hall of Famer.
Oh.
I said, yo, I know a guy.
You know a guy.
Richard Jefferson, folks.
Thank you.
There he
is.
is.
A round of applause, everybody. There's no one here.
Now, listen, dude. RJ, Richard Jefferson, you're a good man. You're going to the Nets game tonight.
Yes.
Okay? You're a Nets royalty.
Okay.
But New Jersey Nets.
Yes.
Dude, I mean, thank God that team moved out of New Jersey.
Look, when people ask about why the team moves, I was like, well, we played in the NBA Finals against the Lakers and couldn't sell out. Right? So it's like, if you can't sell out against the Lakers in the NBA Finals, it's like I'm looking at Snoop and everybody on the floor, and then you look up and the top is like half filled. They needed a new arena. The Meadowlands wasn't where it's at. Like football does it, like they get everybody, but they go there once a week.
Do you know about the Meadowlands or like what that is like known for? What do you know about the Meadowlands in New Jersey?
What do I know about the Meadowlands? What are you asking?
Okay, here we go. First of all, I want to just say, because I forgot to say, we're coming to you live from Slam Magazine headquarters in Long Island City, New York. Every day we come to this studio, we make it to 3 blocks, and we don't get shot and killed, and that's a win.
Hey, here we go.
There it is.
There we go.
And so the Meadowlands, right? Even when they were building like the new MetLife Stadium where the Jets and Giants play, Meadowlands where the New Jersey Nets used to play, mafia dumping ground. Mafia used to kill people, throw them right in the Meadowlands. So the reason why construction would take so long in those areas is because every time they were breaking ground for a new building, they would find bones, and you have to get the FBI involved, and they have to like investigate a murder. So you went to the NBA championship on top of many dead bodies.
Well, I think all of America is covered in dead bodies, if we're going to be really, really honest. But no, the Meadowlands, when you look, Sopranos started like, I want to say a year before I got drafted. So Sopranos was like, and that it was between Sopranos, between the New Jersey Nets. We kind of gave Jersey a little vibe. It was like the first time Jersey had like a little. Did you live in Jersey, though, or did you live in New York? Oh, I lived in Jersey my first 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, my first 3 years I lived in Jersey.
Like by the mall? Where did you live?
No. Oh, no. I lived like West New York area where all like the rappers and like Fort Lee, Hoboken. I used to go.
Yeah.
But I was 21, so I was going to Hoboken, getting drunk. Life was good.
Had to be so fun.
It was so much fun because this was pre-camera phones, pre all that stuff. So you could go out and really just do some heinous shit.
Chill.
And just be out to, eating tacos at 4 o'clock in the morning, walking on the street, and it's just like no one saw. If they either they saw you or that was it. There was no camera phones, no videos, no TMZ, none of that shit. So it was a good time.
Yeah, dude. I feel like it's gotta just suck now to not suck to be a pro athlete. It's awesome, but it's like you just can't. Part of being a pro athlete is just and being like a rock star. It's like being debaucherous at night, and now you can't. You can, but then you got to make a fucking public apology the next day.
No, you can't. But look, everything evolves, right? It's like the amount of pressure, the social media, then camera phones. But you go back and look at like I want to say like the early 2000s. You would go out to clubs and you would see so many celebrities.
Sure.
You would see, it'd be Snoop Dogg at one booth. It'd be, Nas at one. It'd be Busta Rhymes. Like, you see Beyonce and Jay-Z because you could just go out.
Yeah.
They could have their security. You don't have to worry about cameras. Can I get a picture? It was like now, it used to be paparazzi in LA. And then everybody kind of lived in New York because there wasn't really paparazzi here. And then once everybody had a phone, everyone became paparazzi.
Right.
So it was just kind of like, but you navigated. It's probably good. It probably keeps people in check a little bit more.
I feel like now you're good too. You're see, the thing is about you, like what are you, 42, 43 years old?
Yep.
Still a young guy, right? No, you are. You're a young guy.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where, I remember me like being like a little kid, I would be like, oh, after these NBA guys are done, like I wonder what they do with their life. It's like their life just begins sometimes when like you're done with the game. Like you're, like you've done well. You've, you made a lot of money, did what you loved, and now you have like another 50, 60 years to live.
Well, it's crazy because it was like you also have to find a purpose. That's the crazy thing about an athlete. Like you have a purpose at like 10, 11, 12 years old. It's like, you want to make it to the NBA.
Right.
You have like these things, but it's kind of like, hey, I'm trying to get a college scholarship when I was 17. Okay, I can see that. You get there and you go to look at school like Arizona, Duke, North Carolina, and it's like there's 9 other All-Americans there, high school All-Americans. Right. So now you're competing and battling just to play on your team. against other teams. So it's like you've always had a purpose. So I think one of the things, and I think athletes have done a much better job, is they're starting to plan their transition. They're starting businesses. They're looking at their networking far better than what they were in, let's say, like the 90s and the early 2000s. So now you get into a spot where it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do next? I'm 35, 36 years old. I have plenty of money. Like I've been fortunate with that. But it was like, I got more to offer. I got more shit to do. So I was like, let's get on TV and crack jokes.
When did you know, like, honestly, know I'm going to make the NBA? When was, because like, obviously you're, when you're playing in Arizona, you guys go to the finals. It's like, we know you're all good in the first round draft pick, but did you know like the year before?
No. I would say I knew when we got to the Final Four.
Right.
I knew when we got to the Final Four from a standpoint of like your draft stock is always that way. And this was, again, pre like all the social media. So you're not getting inundated with like draft boards, and there's not like the Mel Kiper and it's not like that. And so I think for us, like I could have left after my sophomore year. I had an agent telling me, oh, you'd be a late first round pick. But you're just like, whatever. You get into your junior year and you're like, I'm so focused on winning. Winning solves everything. So we had an okay year because our Lute Olson, his wife, had passed. So then that tournament, we had a very good tournament. We were a good team. Gilbert Arenas, we had a good team. So all of a sudden you get out of the Final Four and we make it to the national championship. And then like my coach is like, oh, you're not coming back to school. And I'm like, wait, this is a real thing? This is like, I really can go to the NBA draft. Holy shit. So you don't realize it. Like there's a self-awareness, but there's also, you have to lack it a little bit, because if you're looking past and not looking at what's right in front of you, all of a sudden you go 2 for 12. And then now all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're late second round pick. And you're like, should I come back for my senior year? But that's when I was like, holy shit.
Right.
I'm going to go to the NBA.
Now, let me ask you this. You had a great NBA career, made, great money. Especially as you're getting older, right? In the NBA, is there a part, I've always obsessed with athletes because I always think like, what would I do? Is there a part of you've already made money, you're like doing great, you're like, do I really want to go to the playoffs? Now I have to fucking be away from my family for another 3 months. Do I really? I know you have to be like on TV, like, come on kids, you play to win the game. But in reality, you're like, dude, I just want to go home. Like, I don't need these idiots yelling at me and talking about me. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm already good.
No, you're psychotic. We're all psychotic. You want to make the playoffs because playoffs make you more money. Playoffs make you more money. Not from like not from a like, oh, you get more dollars in your pocket. Like your salary that you get is based off 82 games. And then if you play all the way to the finals, they're not giving you, me and LeBron make the same amount of money in the postseason.
Yeah.
Then, he makes $30 million. I made $2 million during the regular season. During the postseason, if we go to the finals, we both get a check for like $100,000. Right. So it's like that, but your money is made from a branding, from a visibility. Right. You've eliminated all the bullshit. The bottom 8 teams ain't there. So now you get an opportunity. You have a big game there. You do that. It's just like the NCAA tournament. You have a couple of good games in the playoffs, or if you guys make a playoff run, like Brunson with the Knicks.
Sure.
They go to the conference finals. Trust me, those dollars went up when he was in Dallas. Had a great playoff run, and those dollars started going up for him. And so it's like, that's why you want to make the playoffs, because it's the most competitive, it's the most fun, it's the highest visibility. Every game is sold out in the playoffs. So the environment, that's what you do. It's really shitty to go like October to April, and then you're done. So you have nothing to do from April to October if you're like a vet. So if you're like 5-6 years, you're not doing summer league. So you just have nothing to do for fucking 6 months.
That's an interesting thing. So like when you get knocked out of the playoffs or don't make the playoffs, even after you win the championship, there's days where you're just like, well, now what am I supposed to do?
Work out.
That's all you do.
That's all you work out.
It's like I work, but if you work out, if you go out, you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, your workout's done by 9. The rest of the day, you're like, I'm just going to watch Netflix. I don't have anything to do.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why we also get in trouble a lot, and why we party a lot, and why there's a lot of, whether it's women or this, because you're 25 years old, making millions of dollars. And some of it can range. You could be making $5 million, which is fucking absurd. You could be making $25 million. There's a lot of 25-year-olds in the NBA. And it's like, what do? You've already bought every car. You've already, you took care of your mom. You took care of your family. And you're just like, my only job now is to work out, take care of myself, and get better, because there's only 450 players.
Right.
So it's like, and every year there's a first round, second round. So every year there's 60 players that come in to that pool that will have a job. They're going to draft these guys. They're going to be on the roster. So that means 60 guys every single year that had a job don't have a job the next year because there's a constant influx. So you're within that 450 range and there's a 60 person overchange. So you're constantly somewhat fighting to like, I don't want to say stay in, you have contracts, but you're always trying to prove yourself.
Yeah. And that's why like when you have a long career, it doesn't matter, Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame, just staying in the NBA for as many years as you did is a huge accomplishment because like you said, your job is never really safe.
Oh, it's never safe. And it could be an injury. It could be this. It could be the timing of things. There's guys that were about to sign a big contract and then tear their knee up. It's like they'll be fine, but they're not going to sign you to a 4-year, $60 million contract if you have a year off, you got an ACL. So it's just, it's one of those things that kind of conditions you in a very, mess. This is very similar to military where you're so regimented. Like there's more fun, but it's very like, hey, this shit is not a game. You have to do it. And even to stay in the league for 17 years, there were times where I was averaging 20 points a game. There was times that I was averaging 5. So it's like a lot of times you're constantly like reinventing yourself. Like adaptation is really about survival in this league.
Sure.
Because I can't be like, well, I'm used to playing 30 minutes. It's like, well, you're 33 years old. Will you accept 20 minutes a night and averaging 7 points a game? And it's like, yeah, I'll do it because I enjoy playing basketball. So it's like people ask me all the time, like, do you miss playing basketball? And I was like, no, I miss being 25 and playing basketball. But when you're 35 years old and you're working out 3 hours a day to just like keep your body together and play 10, 15 minutes a night, that's a different basketball experience.
Right. Will you play in a men's league though, or no, right?
I haven't yet. I think I might be close to it. My little boys now are 7 and 9. They just had birthdays. Okay. So like for them, as much like they were babies when I was in the league and they kind of saw a little bit, but now it's just highlights. So it's like I'll go to their school and play pickup and I'll do some things. So I think I'm almost at a men's league just because my kids can now see it and understand it, and I can still dunk. So that shit's cool.
That is dope. That's to have your dad, a dad that can dunk.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you, because I travel a lot with comedy, and I know they were babies, but it had to be difficult to constantly be on the road missing your kids, right? Especially when you have kids. I feel like an NBA athlete, same as anything in entertainment, it's like a single man's thing because you got to miss so much time with your family.
Yeah, and it also takes a quality partner, right? And it's like, you miss that time with your kids, but there's also positives to it, right? There are some positives, like you're providing a better life for your kids. You're out there traveling. You're also showing your kids a level of discipline, right? So it's like my kids, I'll never forget my wife, like when I decided to retire, it was like September, and she was like, it was like day 2. It was like I announced my retirement on a Monday and I posted a social just like, hey, I'm going to move on. I'm going to go do broadcasting. And then it was like Monday comes around. What do you do? It's like, I'm going to go work out. It's like, she was like, still? And I'm like, yes. If I'm like a fucking Labrador retriever. If I don't burn 2 hours of energy, it's not just like complete stasis. It's not like I'm just going to sit there and do nothing.
Dude, and you fat would look horrible, bro.
So
Could
bad.
you imagine how bad fat you look good like this, bro. You can't get fat.
I'm such an asshole. Like I make fun of all the fat people. I make fun of everybody. Like Big Perk, love him to death. But it's like you got to be able to at least like shame your friends a little bit.
Sure.
It's like, bro, like, do we really need 7 Diet Cokes with like a bucket of fried chicken right now?
You can't do it.
We
like Vito, who works for us right now, he's got baby teeth. His look at his teeth. Look at his teeth. Do you see those? When he was a baby, his teeth never grew in. So those
you have a nice smile. Don't let him mess with you. You have a beautiful smile.
But
all my fronts are fake anyway. So
you got fake teeth?
Yeah, so I can't. I'm not judging.
How'd you not get what happened to your teeth?
Well, one, I was poor growing up, so I didn't really have like quality money for braces. And so when I got a little bit of money, I was like, let me clean these bad boys up. Let me get them. So look. So I don't ever. I personally. I'll make fun of people that have things within their control. His baby teeth are not in his control.
No, you can take his baby teeth out.
You can take.
Why can't you take your baby teeth out?
There is a surgery. I was told I could get surgery, but I would have to get my baby teeth pulled out. Then I would have to get the adult teeth pulled out and then put implants in.
Yeah, see, that seems like a lot of work. Like, you have a nice smile. Don't do that.
So you would keep, if you were Vito, you would keep your baby teeth in your head.
You married? You got a girl?
I am married, yeah.
Okay, yeah, then who gives a fuck? He's got a girl.
No, but I told him it's borderline. His wife could go to prison because his baby mouth, it's pedophilia.
I have no response to that one. I have
Richard Jefferson live on ESPN.
Yeah, I have no response to that. But you travel, you understand.
Yes.
But this is what I will say, what I do with my kids. and they don't fully understand it right now. Like I either take the first flight out, like if I'm coming back, I'm 6 a.m. I'm out, or I'm taking the last flight out. So if I'm coming to New York, put them to bed, and then I take like a 10 o'clock red eye. So you try and limit that you can do, but you know, I think what I'm like, my father showed me, and it wasn't like this type of travel. There's a work ethic, I think, as a man that should always be respected. And so if a person is doing this stuff, like if that's his vision, if you're an individual that is always driven, it's not, I need more, but it's like, I have this ability. And you know, if you have this ability and you don't use it, you start to have this regret, this, what am I doing? And it's like, I have opportunities. So now it's more about, when my kids were like, oh, Daddy, you played basketball? And I was like, yes. Well, why do you talk about basketball? Because one, I enjoy it. Two, it gives me a purpose. And I think a man without a purpose, that's a scary place to be.
Do you want your boys to, like, are they playing ball? Are you pushing it on them?
They're playing sports, but I'm not pushing it.
That's good.
I'm not pushing it. It's like they're around it all the time.
Yeah.
Only thing that's on my, I love all sports. So the only thing that's on my TV, like I'm not watching shows. I'm not doing this. It's Wimbledon. It's US Open. It's boxing. It's UFC. It's basketball. It's baseball playoffs. It's football. So sports are on at all times in my house. And I'm just like,
sure your wife loves it.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, because she doesn't want, dads are more lax. We're like, oh, you can watch a movie, you can watch this. So like, in order to not, because I like TV, so in order to not like, oh, the kids are just watching movies, like, no, they're watching football and I'm explaining to them.
Yeah. Teaching.
But that was my fondest memories as a kid with my dad, right? Like my dad was an Eagles fan. He loved tennis. My parents didn't play sports, but like he was a Philly guy. So it was like, I would sit there and I would, teach me about Randall Cunningham and Keith Byers and Reggie White. I would sit there and watch tennis. So I would watch Andre Agassi. So I would watch these guys. And so it was like, I learned so much. So now to sit with my two little boys, and even sometimes they're playing with Legos or doing this, but just to have it on, they're absorbing information.
Right. Now, what about your feet? NBA players usually have horrific feet. How are your feet?
I got bunions. That's it. It's the bunion thing.
We got the bunion corrector?
Yeah.
Did we lose it?
We threw it away.
Oh, we threw it away. We had a bunion corrector in here last week.
Yeah. But
so what are you going to do with your bunions, dude?
Well, this is the thing. My toes ain't black and blue. They're not crumpled up, but it was just like that. And it was more of like torn ligaments on both sides. But it's like, look, man, there's 17 years of steps in those toes. And so they're not banged up. Like, I'm not one of those people that are wearing like socks and slides. Like, I'm not ashamed.
You'll show the foot.
I'll show the foot. I got no problem showing my foot.
You want to take your foot out?
Look, I got
Let's
no
see
problem.
Who's got a worse foot.
No, see, look, I got a.
Whoa, RJ's got nice feet. Look at that.
That's what I'm saying. my toes ain't bad.
Look at this.
We giving this shit for free.
Look at that.
Look, my toe. That's what I'm saying. I don't got black and blues.
No, you don't. You got good.
But this bad boy, this shit'll start rubbing on you. And it ain't. It's not what you want. The other one's not as bad. This one, that bunion will get you quick.
Bro, you're welcome on Wiki Feet right now. A lot of you motherfuckers just got shit for free right there.
Yes. I'm starting OnlyFans.
Seriously, I would too. Now let me ask you a question. You're one of like these rare guys. You played against MJ, Kobe, and LeBron. So in your opinion, who's the GOAT?
Ooh, you know what?
Yes.
No. See, we're okay. This is what I'm gonna say about the GOAT conversation. I don't think that there is a true GOAT. Basketball is one of those rare sports where that's why it's so much fun. Excuse me. That's why people argue about it so much. Like, look, if we break it down, best NBA, most successful NBA player of all time is Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest basketball career that was ever had from start to finish, it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? Never lost in high school, won 3 national championships at UCLA, wins 5 championships, 6 NBA. Like, you go look at his total basketball career, no one's got a resume like him.
Sure.
Michael Jordan, once he got to the NBA Finals, that was his shit. He owned it. It was iconic. It was like he always delivered. You would do promos for the Bulls versus Jazz, and it was like 2 minutes of Michael Jordan. And like they were like, who are they playing? Because it was like that's all, and he always delivered. So from that, there is a perfection that he had, that 6-0. But when you start breaking down stats and numbers, LeBron James, elite. There's no one's going to be able to touch the numbers that he did, and he was a champion. And no one's had more pressure in the history of the NBA than him. Kobe showed what an absurd, psychotic work ethic can get you, and his intensity and the Mamba mentality. So it was like when you look at each one of them across that board, whether it's Bill Russell, Kareem, Kobe, LeBron, they all did things that better than the other one.
Right.
They all did things better than the other, whether it's longevity. Look, Kobe, we see Kobe. At the end of his career, he was struggling. Torn Achilles, banged up, because he pushed himself to the end. Like LeBron, the longevity should be a part of your greatness. How long can you be great for is a part of the stat. And he's been the greatest for the longest. But can we say he doesn't have 6 championships, doesn't have 11 like Bill Russell? So it's like, the conversation is a shitty conversation. That's why it's a great conversation.
I can't stress KiWiCo enough. It is literally the thing that my kids look forward to the most. I think my kids look forward more to KiWiCo coming to the door than me coming to the door.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it's they already know. We've done like 3 or 4 projects of it, my son and I. And by the 3rd one, he was already jazzed. There no, hey man, let's go. Let's do this thing. As soon as I mentioned what we were doing, he was in, ready to go.
Dude, and it's one of those things, like I built a volcano with my daughter, with KiWiCo, follow the steps. It makes me feel good. I'm like, oh, I actually know how to build something and can do something cool, as opposed to just having to sit there where like Jasmine builds the forts.
Yes.
I don't even remotely know. I don't know how to do any of the stuff, but KiWiCo gives me confidence, and I'm a grown kid.
Dude, my wife just built me a sewing machine desk.
Yes.
I get it.
She built it.
She built it
so you could
for
sit
me.
there and sew. KiWiCo does the legwork for you so you can spend quality time tackling projects together. What KiWiCo is it delivers seriously fun learning for kids of all ages through hands-on projects and activities. Each month, kids receive crates packed with engaging hands-on activities designed to introduce them to existing science, technology, and art concepts. There is always something new for kids to discover, like engineering robots or learning about the science of ice cream. I love that.
Yeah, and kids are naturally into this stuff. So cultivate your child's curiosity while encouraging them to be an innovator and creative thinker. They'll explore new worlds and rediscover familiar ones without leaving home.
Yes.
Give them the tools to learn new skills, build new experiences, and make new connections to the broader world, from discovering the science of magic to engineering a domino machine and more.
Redefine learning with play. Explore projects that build confidence and problem-solving skills with KiWiCo. Get 50% off your first month on any crate line at KiWiCo.com with promo code CHAOS. That's 50% off your first month at KiWiCo.com, promo code CHAOS. Do you have hair thinning, shedding, hair issues? Well, then Nutrafol has a proactive approach, and because Nutrafol targets the root causes. Here's the thing. Nutrafol, I got a friend who's balding.
Yeah.
Gave him Nutrafol. It's the only product that I've seen that actually I noticed the kid had more hair.
No kidding.
I just noticed it. I noticed he had more hair. Different things work for different people. In my experience, I saw Nutrafol work for a friend of mine. Hair thinning is not inevitable, okay? You take control of your hair's future before it's too late. Nutrafol is clinically tested hair growth supplement for men. Did you know that 80% of men will experience hair thinning in their lifetime?
Yeah.
It's normal, but it doesn't have to be your fate.
That's right.
Let me see your hair, Mike.
Is it tough? Is it coming back in the sides?
Somebody, John, go get the Nutrafol.
I just go like this and just a clump of hair comes out of my head. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand with over 1 million people seeing thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding.
Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter the promo code CHAOS. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and hairstylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men, spelled NUTRAFOL.com/men. Enter promo code CHAOS. What do they have to do, Mike?
Nutrafol.com/men. Enter the code CHAOS.
He ruined it. What was it like winning a championship in Cleveland? I mean, I know people went nuts, but you're also in Cleveland.
Well, you say
so. What did you guys do?
You say that. Some of these cities we talked about, if you show up in October and you're done in April, right?
Right.
Like that's if you're in Minnesota, if you're in Milwaukee, if you're in Cleveland, like it is negative 20 degrees, it's snow. But if you play till June, shit's fun.
Yeah.
Right? The weather's out, everyone's out, bars are filled. Like you get to be in, like, it's like going to Chicago and watching the Cubs in the World Series. Like the whole town is out. So I would say this is the coolest thing about winning a championship in Cleveland. We won a championship for Ohio. it was like Ohio hadn't won anything, and it was like since the Browns. So the Indians, the Browns hadn't won so like we ended something for an entire state. And that's why the coolest thing about it to me was we won on Father's Day. So there were generation of men that would come up to me and still do. And they'll just say thank you. But the first couple of years, it was like, I used to watch with my grandfather. I used to watch with my dad. You guys won on Father's Day. I'm with my dad. And like the curse or the bullshit was over. So it was just so emotional for people. It wasn't just the Celtics. Hey, we won our, 8-team championship. Lakers. Hey, we're great. No, it was like there was multi-generations of people that just felt a burden taken off of them.
Right.
And that's what made it special, because there was a connectivity to like the whole state and what we were doing.
Well, I appreciate it was a good Father's Day for you because my father had $1,000 on Golden State.
Did he?
So
that's awesome. Yeah.
So we lost everything.
Yeah. Well,
because of your winning.
You say everything is $1,000 all he had?
Yeah, I live in the studio.
No, hey, listen, nice studio. It's not bad. But
Thank you.
No. But you understand this. Where are you from originally?
New York.
Okay, so you're a Knicks fan.
Yes, of course.
So you understand the pain.
Yeah, of course, dude.
You understand, like,
we're excited right now, but we don't get too excited because you just don't know.
Look, this is what I would say. This team is very, very good.
Yes.
You are one piece away from being a championship contender. Right now, you're like conference finalists. Like, you're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
One of the best teams in the conference. But there's only like 6 guys that are playing right now.
Yeah.
That have led a team to a championship, and it's Giannis, LeBron, Kawhi, Steph, KD, and who else am I missing? I'm missing somebody. I'll figure it out.
Right.
But my point is that that's a very elite group of dudes. So for Brunson or these guys to get to that championship, you're going to have to run through 2 or 3 of those dudes.
Yeah.
And that's the part that, like, it takes a lot to build a championship.
Yeah.
And,
I stay in the moment with the Knicks. Like, I've always supported them for ups and downs. And it's like one of those things, whether they win the championship or not, I'm just like, it's so much fun to be in the Garden now. It feels like the 90s again. It feels like Charles Oakley is back there again, where you're like, whoa, the energy's crazy.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so much fun. Like, people, like Knicks fans have had a tough go. And like, I have mended my relationship with Knicks fans because when I was with the Nets, we used to whoop their ass. And then when I got into broadcasting, I was like, they suck. Fuck the Knicks. Like, let's talk. And it was like Knicks Twitter. And I'm like, look, when you guys are good, I will give you the credit. I will give any team the credit. When you guys are shit, and this is the thing that people understand, in sports media across boards, not just basketball, it's football, it's baseball, you talk about 6 teams and 10 players. That's it. And if you're not one of those six teams, if you're not one, you're going to talk about the Lakers, you're going to talk about the Knicks, you're going to talk about the Celtics, you're going to talk about Golden State, you're going to talk about the big markets, or you're going to talk about one of these 10 players, Giannis, you're going to talk about Joel Embiid, you're going to talk, so it's like 10 players, 6 teams. If we got to talk about you, and if you suck, we still got to talk about you. We're pissed off about this shit too. It's like, we got to talk about the Golden State Warriors and the Lakers and what they got to do to figure this shit out. They're both 500 teams right now.
Right.
And we spend 20% of our time still talking about those teams because of the players and all the bullshit. So I've mended my relationship with the Knicks because now that they're good, it's like, guys, I'm not a hater. If you guys are good, I will give you all the love and be honest. If you guys are shit, yeah, but the way I give shit is I'll crack jokes. Yeah. And that's the shit that bothers them.
Yeah, no, because it's a good point you make too, because, before I got into entertainment, I used to just watch the, ESPN or whatever it is and be like, oh, these guys are excited to talk about it. Or like, I wasn't even listening, but now I know from like doing a podcast multiple times a week, it's like, sometimes you got to just force yourself to talk about things. Yeah. Like sometimes I'm sure there's times you're like, dude, I don't want to talk about, how many times am I going to talk about LeBron James? But you have to be on there like, I have 25 minutes on new thoughts on LeBron and the Lakers.
And what they can do to fix. And what can Golden State, then they start, who can they trade? Whose fault is it? What do you think about this game? What do you think about this rotation? What do you think about Steve? Yeah. So they'll just kind of mix it up because they have the biggest fan base, right? They have the biggest fan base. They have one of the most famous players to ever play in the league and stuff. So it's like, you're always navigating that, but it's like when fans will hit me, you guys, it's like, motherfucker, I'm not writing the story. I'm not writing the rundown. This is what I come in here and tell me. I try and sneak in some other shit, but It's tough in sports because you got to deal with the fan bases and you got to deal with all of that.
I know now, my friends are always like, they're the guys calling into the radio station, tweeting at NBA players or MLB players. I'm like, you guys are so dumb.
Well,
You're
don't care.
such a dummy.
We don't care.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you try and tell people, it's like, okay, let me give you guys a perspective, right? And I love it. Fan engagement is what makes the NBA and what makes all sports great. Fan engagement. If you don't got fan engagement, if nobody's watching, no one's engaging, but it can be negative at times. But I just try and tell people, they're like, oh, booing. And I'm like, I was playing in front of 20,000 people when I was 16, 17 years old. This is all I've known. Do you think, like, every college game I played in was sold out? NBA. So you're like you tweeting at me that I suck. It's like, why are you spending that energy on yourself,
dude?
bro?
I tell my friends from all the time, like, diehard Mets friend. I got a friend, Jimmy JetBlue. He'll always his whole day will be dictated by what the Mets do, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Go live your life. I said, what Pete Alonso's going to do. I said, buddy, Jimmy, if you got even near Pete Alonso and said something, he'd beat you to death with a baseball bat. So just shut up and live your life.
Oh, and these are the same people that will fucking heckle you and talk shit and then ask you to sign a jersey if they see you and ask you to sign. And I don't, look, this is one thing that I've gotten more aware of now that I'm in media. When I was a player, we truly do not give a fuck.
Right.
Like, we go to other teams, we get traded, we sign free agency. Like, we're just here to have a job, do our best. No one that goes out there and intentionally misses shots. And sometimes we're shit. I had seasons where I was shit. I had seasons where I was really fucking good. We don't care about that. But now that I'm in the media, I have a much better understanding of how much fans care, like how much they live and die by like what the regular season rotation is. Who are we playing this week? Who's our new coach? Like, who are we drafting? It's like, I had no clue.
Yeah, dude. And also, like, you're human. Like, I got to know Tiki Barber, from the New York Giants, and he was like, bro, like, there would be times where, like, I had a bad game as a human being because, like, I got into a fight with my wife. Like, that's real stuff. I remember one time I was on stage about to go do a show for 2,000 people, and my girl texted me, all your text messages got uploaded onto the laptop. I was like, ay, Dios mío. Oh, no. That's not good.
Wait,
and then I was like,
happened?
hey, guys.
What just happened?
I somehow, this was like, I was doing a show for like, it was like a couple of years ago. She sends me a text. I'm in the room. I'm about to go on stage. And she goes, hey, FYI, all your text messages are streaming onto the laptop. She was at home in New York. I was somewhere else, and she's like, so she's basically just saying I have access to all your text messages. I was
How? Okay, was there anything in those text messages?
No, not really, but
context is lost.
that's the thing.
Yeah,
It's
there's no
like,
context.
if you're sending like girls, butts on Instagram to the group chat with the guys, like, you're fucked.
Yeah,
the
group chat is look, there's not any individual stuff, but the group chat, because guys are out on themselves, they're telling stories. Remember that time?
Yes.
Yeah, the group chat is where it gets, it's not the, oh, is there somebody there? It's the group chat. The group chat is the one that like, we could all go to jail if this ever gets out.
Yes, the group chat. My group chat's legitimately illegal. And so my girl's Latina. Is your wife Latina?
No,
white,
she's
black?
English. She's English.
Like from Britain?
Yeah, she's mixed from
Whoa,
English. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
From England, yeah.
How are they? Are they on the craziness scale? I feel like they're not. They're
not crazy. They're very
good.
They're very
Manners.
very manner, and she's very proper English. Very posh. Very big on manners. Me, I don't really give a shit about any of that stuff. But it's that part is fine. I don't have listen. There's good and bads about Latinas, right? Like you get it, right?
I love it.
I love. Some people love it. Me, I already have a high stress life, so I try and keep it a little bit mellow. But no, man, people don't understand. Like, you can go through things. Your people can pass in your life, and you got to go and play a basketball game. And you kind of want to get out there so you can shut off your brain from that. But it's hard. It's hard to do. There's guys. There's your wife can have. My wife had an ectopic pregnancy.
Sure.
I'm like on a way to shoot around, and she had to go to the hospital, and they had to perform, and it was like, I'm playing a game now, and you don't want to share everything. We already share so much as entertainers, as athletes. You share so much of your life, and it's like that shit is scary. Like, you still got to go do your job, and I don't think that's something that we compartmentalize on a most likely unhealthy level,
Right.
But that's the thing that people don't understand, and they just live in their world.
Yeah, dude, because the psychology of sports, like when you have like the really, really great ones, or anybody, even, to play in the league for as long as you have, there has to be a degree of blocking everything out. And sometimes when people can't do that, I'm like, dude, that all goes into, are they a good player or a bad player? Can they stay in the league? Can they can't? The mental part is very, very important.
Yeah, the mental part to me is the physical part. You have that kind of spectrum. There's guys that are just so physically gifted that they're going to get an opportunity to play in the NBA. They're 6'9" and can jump and can run a 40. Same with football. Same with baseball. There's certain guys that just have a skill set. But how long and how you maximize your skill set, a lot of that has to do with the environment and what you're creating. And it's tough because like we compartmentalize in a space, and a lot of times our partners do too. Because it's like, oh, when I get home from a game, like or when I get home from practice, I have to take a nap. I have to do these things. These are my regimented things that if I don't do them and I don't play well, right? If I do all my things and I don't play well, fuck it, another game tomorrow. If like all of a sudden people are calling me with bullshit, I'm trying to do this, there's all this other shit, and then you try and get out there, now you're pissed off before you miss your first shot, and you're mad at your babysitter because she was 15 minutes late and it bothered your wife, and it's like you can't do it without being selfish mentally and emotionally. And that doesn't tend to lend to positive environments.
HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Mikey and I are guys that don't really cook.
No, not
but
at all.
HelloFresh, they send these prepackaged portion ingredients. I feel like I know how to cook comfortably now because of HelloFresh.
Dude, it's changed how I look to my son because I've never cooked a meal up until I started ordering HelloFresh, and now I have everything prepackaged. All the portions are controlled. The instructions are beat for beat, line for line, what you have to do. As long as I can read, I can follow them, and now my son looks at me as an actual functional man.
Dude, and they have, because listen, it's around the holidays. We all feel like we're getting a little chubby. Don't say anything about Vito. We get Calorie Smart. They have Calorie Smart, Protein Smart recipes that they deliver each week. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees. You ready for this, dude? Are you ready? I speak about HelloFresh on other podcasts, and I genuinely can't believe how this company makes money because they give away so much stuff for free. And this one I'm about to tell you right here is the craziest thing I've ever heard a company do ever. HelloFresh, you ready for this? Is giving away free breakfast for life. Free breakfast for life. That means you're going to enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. Now that's worth waking up early for.
How do you even financially do that, HelloFresh?
I have no clue, but all you have to do to get free breakfast for life is go to HelloFresh.com/ChrissyFree and use the code ChrissyFree for free breakfast for life. That's one breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's awesome. Free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/ChrissyFree with code ChrissyFree.
HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
Let me ask you a question. Resolving to eat healthier this year was easy. Actually doing it, not so easy. Well, better nutrition is a key to health and longevity, and a healthy diet could even help you avoid health risks that run in your family. Ooh, Field of Greens is my healthy superfruit and vegetable habit. I really do use this product, and I really do love it. It tastes great, and it's awesome, and it's got me. You know that you're healthy when you're regularly going and you have S-shaped poops, and I do, and I think it's because Field of Greens. It's the only fruit and vegetable product that literally promises better health. At your next checkup, your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. How crazy is that? They're literally saying, use my product, and if the doctor doesn't say you're doing better, they'll give you the money back. Do your vitamins or green drinks promise better health? No, they don't. Only Field of Greens does. Each superfruit and vegetable in Field of Greens was doctor selected for a specific health benefit. Some support your heart, lungs, kidneys, you name it, they support it. Others support metabolism for healthy energy and weight loss. If you're resolved to getting healthier in 2024, it starts with Field of Greens, and I got you on a discount. You always know I do. 15% off your first order and free rush shipping. Visit fieldofgreens.com. Use promo code CHAOS. That's promo code CHAOS at fieldofgreens.com. Fieldofgreens.com. See, that's good. Like you have a lot of intuition. You know a lot. You can like talk through that. So that's good. Now, what about your tattoo? People say that you have the worst tattoo of all time. What do you think of that? Are those people haters or are they right?
There's a combination of their haters and they're right. Look, it's not even the worst tattoo I have. It's not. I have worse tattoos on my body. I'm not showing them to you because it's just going to add. Did we say RJ Tattoo Concepts? I love that.
Yes, we have a few.
Well, this is what I got my tattoo when I was in college, or actually in high school. Yeah. Right? I snuck and got it, like a lot of, just being that kid. But I'm like, if you really break down NBA tattoos, there's a lot of shitty tattoos. They just cover them in sleeves, right? It's like, I have like all these tattoos, and then there's like a sleeve with flames. And you're like, oh, that's dope work. And you're like, if you really break it down segment, I just kind of did it and I got lazy. And I was like, I wanted to get more. And I probably will now that I'm like 40 going through a midlife crisis.
Sure.
Like, why not just get like a full sleeve?
Dude, do what I did. I have a big crucifix on my back, and on the bottom of it says faith.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, I do, dude. I have a huge cross on my back, and on the bottom, without the tattoo artist even, the tattoo artist freehanded it. So all I wanted was a crucifix on my back, like I'm fighting in the army of God. And then he shows me, he's like, look at this. And then I look at it, and I'm like, great. And I'm like, what's the word at the bottom? He was like, faith. I was like, I didn't, I swear to God, I was like, I didn't say to write faith. He was like, yeah, but I just thought it fit.
Oh, no, you're lying.
I swear to God, dude, I have the word faith on my back and I didn't give it permission. But what am I going to do? I'm just going to deal with it.
You have a tramp stamp that says faith?
In upper back tramp stamp.
Oh, upper back.
Upper back tramp stamp. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, dude. So I would have had the worst NBA tattoo if well,
no, but no. There's, again, my tattoo is not the worst.
You're right.
It is the worst singular tattoo, and I'll stand by that.
Do you think Keith Van Horn is in his house right now walking around with high water socks on?
100%.
This is how he rolls.
I have not seen, and Keith I grew up on the West Coast.
He was a legend, Keith Van Horn.
Legend. Yes. Like the shit he was doing, him and Tim Duncan were like, right. Like Keith Van Horn was special. So when I got to the Nets, I got to play with them, and great dude, love him. But it was like, he's one of those, there's a lot of guys in this league that once their time is done, you never see him.
So you have not seen or heard from Keith Van Horn since the day you guys...
No. He got traded to the Nets on some like random deal and worked out. But then like he just disappears. And that happens a lot. You got guys that you just never hear because they don't want to talk about basketball. They move to Idaho and they build a farm and they just hang out with their family.
What does Keith Van Horn look like now? Can somebody get a pic of Keith Van Horn?
I bet you Keith Van Horn looks the exact same as he did. Like Tim Duncan. Like he had a little bit of time like around the league. But it's like no one's seen Tim in like 2 years.
Well, doesn't Tim Duncan now? He's got like long hair now, right?
Look at Keith looks good.
Yeah, he looks great. Keith Van Horn.
The hair is still there.
Keith Van Horn looks like he's like big in to Bitcoin now. He's got a Bitcoin face.
Oh yeah, he's. I would say shrooms, right?
Yes.
Like he said, like Jake Plummer was selling shrooms. Like look, but Keith was a very very good teammate, man. I have nothing to say, but he was a legend,
dude. And then I mean, literally. Didn't give a fuck, rocked the high water diabetes compression socks like he didn't give a shit at all. And they weren't even like dope ones. They were like, I bought these shits at Costco, Walmart, and deal with it. I'll drop 30 on you.
Oh, yeah. And it was
I love it.
He's pale, the white jerseys, the white socks. It's just like, bro, that's aggressive. But I'll tell you this, people don't understand this. So we used to do like all sorts of drills and training and stuff. And it was me, Keith, and Kenyon, and we were kind of doing a who could touch the highest thing. I was third.
Yeah.
But Keith could touch higher than anyone.
He had hops.
Like, he had bounce, but it was like, there's certain guys with bounce that you don't always see it, but every once in a while.
Yeah.
But if you say, start from here, run to there and touch that, Keith was 12 and change easy.
Wow.
Yeah, 12 and change easy. Like I couldn't like longer arms. He's 6'10". I had a good vert, but it was like when you realize like in a jump ball, Keith would whoop all our asses. Like he was that athletic, that long, that tall, that gifted.
Here's the thing. Here's what I know is possible, most likely. Keith Van Horn will hear this. Who else is talking about Keith Van Horn?
No,
it's just us, bro.
One of his friends is going to send him this, and Keith will they'll send it to him. He's like, yo, they were talking about you. And he's like, it's okay.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't give a shit about us.
We like to have fans call in with voicemails. We give them advice on stuff. Let's listen to one of these voicemails. I think one of these, this is going to be good. Richard will have nice advice on this because it's about having a son.
Oh.
Here we go.
Hey, Chris. This is Jared from Texas. I was just calling because I feel like it's a little bit hard for me to connect with my son. We both like video games, but there's video games that I play and there's video games that he plays. Another thing is I feel like he's kind of a pussy. So how do I get him to not be a pussy, but also how do I get to connect with him a little bit better? Any advice is appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, I mean, first of all, how old is your kid?
Yeah, and
it's like if he's 5 years old, is he really pussy? I mean, he's a little kid.
Yeah, he's a little kid. And it's like if he's a kid, if he's saying, is he 12? And he's well, look, this is what I would say. You both like video games. I loved video games.
Yeah.
Like, kids like the NBA players are playing Fortnite and Call of Duty. I was playing Halo back in the day for 12 hours with my boys. So it's like, this is what I'm saying. Men are hunters, right? Get them out fucking side.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's like, if you're having trouble connecting with your son, start a new hobby with your son. Like, hey son, once a week, we're going to go to miniature golf. Once a week, we're going to go hit balls at like, we suck at golf, but this is something that we're going to do. And if he's a little bit of a pussy, you have to put him in an environment to not make him a pussy.
Put him in UFC.
Yeah, 100%. I'm okay with watching kids fight. I have no problem. I have no problem. But my biggest thing is that if you feel like if you're having trouble connecting with your kid, you guys play different games, well, start a game together.
Yeah.
And I personally think it is a parent's job to connect with your children, right? You have to, if that means you got to find 10 different things, one of these things we're going to connect. Do we like the same movies? Do we want to go out? Do we want to go fishing? Like even shit that you would have been like, I don't want to fish, but you're like, I'm having trouble connecting with my son. Maybe my son will like to fish. Maybe that's something that we can do together. I'll give you an example. My wife and I, we don't, my wife, she works out, but not like that. I'm like a psychotic person when it comes to working out and stuff. And so as soon as I retired, I had a bunch of my boys that were like, Richard, as soon as you retire, we're going to get you doing a bunch of white guy shit. And I'm like, okay. And so as soon as I retire, I go skiing, right?
Yes.
Never skied before in my life. We're not allowed to ski. And so I'm on the mountain and like me and my wife both took lessons. My buddy got us dialed in. I was like, okay, I'm retired now. Let's see what this is about. Have a fucking great time. Wife has a great time. And when I'm on the mountain for the very first time, like doing this shit, I see little bitty fucking kids crushing down the mountain. And I'm like, what? They're like, oh yeah, you put your kids in ski school from 9 to 3 and then you pick them up and it's like, then you get to go ski all day. So I was like, I'll be right back. Literally, me and my family went skiing like 4 or 5 times. And it was like, now it's something that my family and I do together.
Right.
Like I've taken my boys, we went to Vail, we've been to Aspen, like just in this past year. And the point is more of like, you get to a space where it's like, okay, how do we connect? I'm retired now. I've only been a basketball player. Like, I don't want to go sit on an island. I don't want to go sit on a beach. And I'm like, what's an activity that the whole family can do? Pack all the kids, drive up to Big Bear, drive to Mammoth. And so it's like, we found a way to all connect with something as a family. And like, it's your job, my guy listening, it is your job to go through a checklist of how to like connect with my kid. And if you feel like your kid's a little bit of a pussy, then you have to find something that gives him a little bit more of an edge, right?
Right, there you go.
There's my advice.
And he was the right guy to answer that because I have 2 daughters. So I have biological females.
Good for you.
There
man.
it is, man. I got 2 little Latina girls who
how old?
8 and 2.
Oh, that's a gap.
Yes.
So the 8-year-old acts like the mom to the 2. She's just telling her what to do and no.
Yeah, like my 8-year-old, we moved from Staten Island to Queens, and we had a really big, nice house in Staten Island, and we moved to Queens to be closer to the city. But of course, the real estate goes way up the closer to the city you get. So I was like, oh, it'll be better environment closer to the city. And my daughter's like, did you lose your money? Why are we living in this? And I'm like, you're 8. We're closer to the city. We can like walk to stuff now. She's like, did you lose the money?
They want the yard.
She knew. Yeah, she was like, I want the yard. Like, I don't care about walking to the bagel store. We had a yard and an in-ground pool.
Yeah.
And now we don't. And how are you going to fix this? So I'm like, damn. And then her mother is also looking at me like, yes, how are you going to fix this?
She's like, yeah, look, our daughter is saying the shit that I really want to say. But no, look, man, I got 2 little boys and like, it is tough. Like I grew up with nothing. I grew up solo, riding the bus to like play basketball. And now my kids are like, Daddy, why is there no prosciutto with this melon? And you're just like, fuck you, bro.
Yeah, I know.
And so look, even for a person in my position that like grew up in a very kind of gritty way, and then now I got 2 kids that are sheltered in Hermosa Beach on the beach.
Right.
You're just like, there's a little bit of resentment that comes from your kids. So all you're doing, in my opinion, is adding character. I thought about moving to New York. I'm like, oh, maybe I can move to New York for just like a couple years, give the kids a different experience, make them understand every day when they're driving to school and they're looking at the ocean, how fucking lucky they are.
Right.
You know?
It's a good idea. So move to New York.
Well, let's calm down now because my kids would look at me the same way. Your kids are like, is everything all right, Dad?
I know.
Like, why are we here?
Well, here's the thing too with I know in the grand scheme of things, comparatively to, American society, obviously, yes, professional athletes make a ton of money, of course, yes. But when you see those contracts on, ESPN, this so-and-so signed a contract, you're not accounting for taxes. You're not accounting for percentages to the agents. You're not accounting for all this shit. So it's like this idea that you never have to work again. It depends, man, because you can make a lot of money, but a lot of money gets taken from you.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of money gets taken from you, but it's, again, contracts are getting to a space now where you'd have to be fucking an idiot to spend it all. But
somebody will do it.
Someone 100%. Well, it'll be stolen. It'll be manipulated. It's not guys are buying 10 Ferraris. Like, I think guys are far more intelligent now than just to like do those things. But you could still get messed up with that stuff. But I think it's less about the money. Bro, I'm 35 years old. I was 35, 36 when I retired. And I'm like, I like to consider myself like an intelligent person. Why not go and challenge yourself? Why not go do more? And so it's like, I don't have to work,
right?
But I also enjoy challenging myself. I enjoy like working on something. I enjoy getting better. Yeah. And that's kind of the message with my kids. It's like, now it's like, like you guys, you'll probably have trust funds. I get that shit. But like, I had money. That didn't stop me from fucking going out there and still grinding. So it's just the right message.
Bros, I mean, Jeff Bezos goes to work every day.
Yes.
This guy doesn't have to go to work.
No, but he didn't get there without working, right?
He should pay for your teeth.
Goddamn right.
Seriously, dude.
Yeah, can we get healthcare?
If you're listening, why don't we get Vito an adult set of teeth?
I honestly...
I just need two. I don't need a whole set.
Real quick.
No, but don't you have to have surgeries and pull all this stuff out, though, right?
Yeah. I don't need a whole set. I just need two.
Speaking of babies, John, how about this? John's girlfriend doesn't even speak English. She only speaks Spanish. They got to communicate through Google Translate. She Google translated him last week, said her period's late by 5 days. A Latina girl from where? Ecuador? Dude.
Yeah, Ecuador. Yeah,
dude. So this is the fucking drama that we got going on with him, dude.
Wait a second.
He's got Vito's baby teeth in.
You just... Yeah. You don't speak Spanish.
No, I speak a little bit of Spanish. She speaks zero English.
Yeah, but not enough to have like a full conversation at dinner, dude. Imagine that your girlfriend doesn't speak the language.
Just the basics.
First, are you one of those like passport bros? Is that what you he went to Colombia and got one of those that just...
Yeah, where did you even meet her? We've never actually asked.
Bumble, dating app. Yeah.
She was on a dating app, not speaking English.
Was her profile in English?
Yeah, it was. So I kind of got...
Boombel.
Yeah.
So when you... Okay, we're not going to go sidetrack, but when you went to dinner, like, she obviously is good looking, but like if you went to dinner and you're like, how are we going to do this?
I mean, when I picked her up, she hopped in my car and like I asked her like, hey, like how's it going? Nice to meet you. Yeah. All responses were in Spanish. I was like, oh, we're in for one.
How long have you been?
Like 2 months now. Yeah.
Are you planning on learning Spanish?
I mean, I have like a 300-day Duolingo streak, so I'm working on it.
There you go.
Congrats. Okay. Last question. You said she's late.
I mean, at this point, it's probably like a week and change.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations. Look, there's certain ovaries that are Spanish ovaries are.
Yep.
Like, look, I grew up in Arizona, a lot of Mexicans. Sure. Like, it's somewhat diverse, but it's basically black, white, and Mexican.
Yeah.
And look, the Mexican ovaries, the Spanish ovaries, they are the strongest.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, well, there you go. Here's the thing. How about this? Let's do. Oh, you're like a professional trash talker. So if I was in the NBA and you were talking trash to me, what do you think you'd say?
I don't know. I like.
What would you say?
I can't say. I just like I don't speak unless spoken to. That's not
Got it.
But we would probably like you're a white dude. You got the beautiful head of hair. We'd fucking make fun of you. Like,
yes.
Look. MJ would be like, MJ would say shit like, yo, there's not a white boy on the fucking planet that can guard me. Like, that's what he would look at you and say that, right?
Yes.
And like, even Larry Bird would say the same shit. Larry Bird walked out there. I forgot who they were playing. And it was like, they were starting like Kelly Tripucka and somebody else. And Larry Bird looked at their team, like, y'all ain't got no black dudes to guard me? Oh, y'all fucked. Right? And it was like, those are the little things. And it's like the trash talk is like, Larry would talk shit if you didn't have a brother guarding him. He'd be like, yo, like MJ, like that's where it is. I don't think the trash talk is a little different now because, guys will tell. You can't be racist. Now. You can't be racist. But, there was a lot of racist trash talk when I first got into the league. And then like you hear the stories of like the 90s and 2000s. It's just like there was, Europeans, they would call them fucking soft and say all this shit and just like they would talk. And Europeans actually aren't soft. Some of them come like a lot of Europeans come from Yugoslavia, the former Yugoslavia. Those motherfuckers have seen some shit. They've seen some shit. So, like, don't think just because you from Southside Chicago, he's from Bosnia Herzegovina. Like, he's seen bombs, not like drive-bys.
Dude, but I'm telling you, man, I had the honor of sitting pretty close. Last week, St. John's played Villanova at the Garden. And so I was sitting like one row behind the St. John's bench. So I could see Coach Rick Pitino. Like, I could see everything he was saying to the players. Like, I could hear him. It was like, they were right there.
Yeah.
So one of the guys on St. John's threw the ball out of bounds, whatever, young bonehead play, whatever. And you think like, the world we live in, you got to be careful, these kids. And then Rick Pitino's just looking at him as he's like walking off the court. And like the cameras couldn't see this, only I could. And then he like looks in his face, he goes, "Are you a fucking asshole?" And then the kid just sits down. But then, bro, like 5 minutes later, puts the kid in. The kid comes down, nails a three, and Rick Pitino hugs him. And the kid played it. I could tell. I only saw them for a couple hours. I could tell these kids will run through a wall for Pitino because he's not babying them. It's like, yeah, dude, we're grown men. You're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. Where, like, if you take this soft route, especially with athletes, I don't know if that's doing them any good, man. Like, talk to me like I'm a man.
Well, when you get to that space, like, okay, my kids are 7 and 9 right now. So they're
yet.
No. But they're in that, like, basketball space where now you have these super intense coaches. And what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And it actually helps you as a parent because it's like, hey, buddy, like, if coach tells you 2 or 3 times to do something and you don't, are you going to play?
Right.
No, I'm not going to play. If daddy tells you to clean your room 2 or 3 times, is daddy going to get upset? Like, yeah. And so they start to see the kind of like the translation between, fucking, you got to be intense to a certain degree. Again, there's a level of this thing. I don't think you should be yelling at kids until they're 10, 11, 12. Right? 7, 8, 9.
But if you're 20 years old,
talk
to me.
You're a fucking grown man, right? If you can buy a weapon, you could be in war right now. You could have signed up for the Marines. You've signed up for this. There's positives to this. Get back on fucking defense. I don't want to hear any bullshit. I don't care about what your Instagram followers are. Fucking get back on fucking defense, right? So it's like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with that. And that's part of it. There's not one of my favorite quotes. No one has ever been coddled to greatness.
Right.
That's it.
True.
Do you show me any person that's achieved any sort of like elite or greatness? It's never been just pat on the backs and hugs the entire way.
Right. Now, real quick, do you think, because college coaches, like the way Lute Olson spoke to you probably wasn't the same an NBA coach would speak to you?
No.
They can't. NBA coaches can't do that because there's egos involved.
No, it's actually vice versa. It's actually vice versa. Like Lute Olson was like, he was like your grandfather, like old, very, very old school, where it was like he never cussed and you weren't allowed to cuss. So he was just, I'm like, oh, this is some bullshit. Richard, watch your mouth. We don't use that type of language here because he would never cuss at you. He just knew how to get inside of your soul and challenge your manhood.
Right.
That's what he would do. That's the motivation. And it was like, he was just like, it's like your stern grandfather. You love him, you hug him, but you always keep a distance. You're always just that. So like, but now in the NBA, there's veterans that you can talk like that because they've seen some shit, but young players, their confidence are so fragile, even when they're super talented. Everyone's talented if you get drafted in the top 10 or there, but it's like their confidence becomes a little bit more fragile of like, you gotta give them, they're still 19 years old playing against 35-year-olds that know fucking way more. So it's just, the best coaches figure out how to talk. Some kids need a kick in the butt, some kids need a pat on the back, and that's the way coaching is.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Anything else? Anything for Richard that you want to ask?
I got a question.
What do you got?
What's it like to get screamed at by LeBron James?
It's actually not that bad. It's because like most of the time we're all self-aware to the point of like, if I fuck up, I know I fucked up. And sometimes I fuck up and I deserve to get yelled at. I deserve, like you said, you know, I don't know if you're married, you got a relationship, you got your girl. Sometimes your wife deserves to fucking yell at you.
Sure,
and you're like,
most times.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I fucked up. And so it's like, he does 90% of the work. He just expects everyone else to do the other 10%. So like, yeah, he gets blamed whether he gets the credit we win, he gets the blame if we lose. No, everyone's talking about LeBron James's finals records, but they're never talking about his teammates and it's like, oh, this and it. No, it's like LeBron James. So it's like for him, there's a different type of pressure on the Kobes, on the LeBrons, on so they're going to be far more intense.
Right.
And understandably so. Like, When I was a high school player trying to win a state championship and I was the best player on the team, I would cuss my fucking guys out all the time in a respectful way. So it's like you learn that stuff like, hey, there's a hierarchy here. I'm going to get the credit and the blame. When I'm in high school, I'm going to get the credit or the blame. So get the fuck back on defense because I don't want to hear somebody shit. LeBron James is the same way. Kobe Bryant, same way. MJ, same way. They know no matter what happens, it's their fault.
Right.
So it's like for them to be the most intense, that shit's understandable.
By the way, we're going to name this episode "Get the Fuck Back on Defense."
Get the fuck back
That's
on
the
defense,
name of this
please. That perfect. Love that.
All right. Well, I literally was like, oh, we can only do half an hour. How long have we been doing?
53 minutes.
Yeah, that's good. So my kids I'm just going to be late to get my kids now.
They're outside.
Literally,
They're outside.
my kids are just going to more shit now to deal with. That my girl's going to be like, where are the kids? And I'm going to be like, Richard Jefferson and I are going to pick them up. You have to get your kids too?
Yes. No, not my kids. I got to get back to work, which are
Back
it
to
feels like
ESPN.
kids. Yeah.
God, what do you think? Are you excited about going back to ESPN? Yeah, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I like
I love
ESPN.
I work with fucking great
best
crew
people.
Yeah, fuck.
All
It's
right.
crazy, but it's fun.
All right. We're going to hang out after this. All right, guys. Thank you. Chrissy Chaos. Mike Cannon will be back next week.
Let's
Vito's
go.
baby teeth all day.